What's up everyone, it's Caddy with Money Investing. So I hope you all are having a great start to your day. If you guys can hear me, if you guys can see me, just let me know in the live chat and we should be all set with everything. So again, if you guys can see me, if there's no issues, just let me know in the live chat and we should be all set. We got Bitcoin absolutely booming right now, past over major echo. Well, there shouldn't be. All good? All right, good morning, looking for a green day. Major echo, why is there echo? Here, let me see if I can fix this. Is it better? There shouldn't be any echo. I don't know why that's happening. Here, let me pull up my own stream. Let me see. Hello. Check.
Playing
1 2.
from Cat's iPhone.
Is it better? Is it okay? Perfect. All right, Jay says it's perfect. Bushstock, just let me know if it's working. But yeah, so we can hear Siri. Great, that was Alexa, by the way. But anyway, so we got DraftKings that's up over 3%. We got Bitcoin that's absolutely booming right now, up over 4% on the day. Trading past over 45,000, just breaking through that resistance. And we got oil prices that are down. So you'll notice that Brent and crude, they're both down 2% each, trading under $70 a barrel. So crude is now trading at $68.80. So we got WTI crude. It's also trading at $66 a barrel. So we have seen a little bit of a pullback here from energy prices, down 12% each. Lucas, what's going on? Welcome on board. Yes, gold is also going down. So a lot of movement in the markets recently. You'll notice gold actually had all the way down to move to 1681 before getting bought up. But this right here also a significant downtrend here of 8%. So a lot of movement happening, a lot of different asset classes right now. But of course, with Bitcoin moving up, we've got individual stocks such as Mara and Coinbase that are doing really well. So Mara is up over 6.83% right now, and Coinbase, last time I checked, was up over 4%. So up almost 4% right now as well. All good, Caddy. Had both Discord and YouTube running. Okay, perfect. So it should be better. Yeah. So I basically got rid of Discord here. So okay. So can we check out Fiverr? So Fiverr we have already gone over like several times. I mean, the analysis hasn't really changed on the stock. It's still pretty same. What we've really been focusing on is the drop here. You know, the earnings were great, the revenue was great, the average spend per buyer, the take rate, everything was great, and just waiting for 153. That's kind of like the support level I'm watching. All the way as was 128. But yeah, it's definitely very oversold. I mean, the RSI under 30, trading levels 26 levels, and the MACD of course has been selling off below the signal line as well. So I'd be patient with this one. It trades at a pretty rich valuation, so I'd be patient kind of entering on this one a little bit, but this is definitely on the list moving forward. So some of the things that I do want to mention is that I actually did mess up on this calendar. So I'm going to redo this only because August 2021 is not over after the 17th. I actually did put out a video going over this very calendar and what to look out for this week going into next week. After August 26th is when we have the Jackson Hole meeting, where Jerome Powell is also going to be giving a statement, which is going to be super important, and I completely forgot about that. So I will be adding it to the calendar here. So you should see something on the new calendar, which I will be sharing with all of our Patreon members. There should be like another box here that goes over August 26th, 27th, Jackson Hole meeting, and this right here is going to be the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, and there is going to be a Jackson Hole Economics Symposium, which possibly we could talk about potential tapering. We're going to talk about the macroeconomic policy and uneven economy in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, August 26th through 2020, August 26th to 28, 2021. So super important meeting. There's a lot of people that are forecasting that maybe Federal Reserve or Jerome Powell will tell us a little bit more about tapering, but he hasn't mentioned that during the press conference either. So super important, and I'll kind of add that to the calendar as well. So we have that on the list here. All right, so let's take a look here. And then we've got earnings coming up, right? So let me pull that up. So we got a lot of earnings coming up here. And subscribing to CNBC after watching my streams. That's great. So, all right, so let's take a look here. And then we've got earnings coming up, right? So let me pull that up. So we got a lot of earnings coming up here. And subscribing to CNBC after watching my streams. That's great. So, all right, so Any chance? All right. So previous Apple trend, after dividend, price will go down. Any chance will follow this trend? Your timeline. So I'll kind of go over individual stocks in just a second. But AMC is reporting. How excited are you guys about AMC earnings after today? I'm really excited. Even though I'm just cheering for all of you guys. But if you are investing or trading in this stock, I'm super excited as to how they really do. Because in my opinion, if the volume really picks up, AMC stock has a higher probability for us to retrace back up to $35, $40 a share level if the volume picks up. It has been going up in the last 3 to 4 days, so we'll see how the volume really does, right? So we need that volume for AMC to push higher, like back up to $35, $40 a share. But again, super excited about this earnings coming up. We had Trade Desk report earlier today, so let's take a quick look on TTD. Up slightly over 79 basis points. So, all right, Trade Desk Q2 adjusted earnings revenue surge. Company guides upbeat in Q3 revenue. So from the looks of it, they basically reported better than expected EPS, better than expected revenue came in at 280 million, up from 134, 139 last year, and Wall Street consensus was 262. So revenue beat, EPS beat, and they anticipate at least $282 million in Q3 revenues compared with the Street's view of 274. So all in all, revenue beat, EPS beat, and future guidance beat. That's like a quadruple beat for the company. So still up over 79 basis points. But this stock has been on absolute rally since $46, right? Up over 81%. So this is on the watch, waiting for us to see whether we can get a retracement back down to the 50 EMA, maybe $74, $75. And then we'll kind of revisit this as well. All right, Kunal, thank you so much for that message. I really appreciate it. So what's the deal with GNOG and DraftKings buying them? Yes, so DraftKings actually did purchase Golden Nugget, which is why DraftKings is up a little bit over 2.8% now. It was up much higher, but they actually did purchase Golden Nugget for, I believe, I forgot what the number was. All right, so right here. So DraftKings to acquire Golden Nugget Online Gaming for $1.56 billion in all stock deals. So they're basically buying all these stock, right? So they're basically purchasing all the shares outstanding for Golden Nugget and basically acquiring them in that sense. So DraftKings said Monday it agreed to acquire Golden Nugget Online Gaming in all-stock deal that carries an implied equity value of $1.56 billion. And DraftKings will create a new holding company called New DraftKings, which will become the going forward public company for both entities and will be renamed DraftKings Incorporated at closing. That's pretty interesting. So they are kind of restructuring their brand here. Golden Nugget Online Gaming stockholders will receive 0.365 New DraftKings Class A common shares for each Golden Nugget common share they hold. And Tillman Fertitta, who owns about 46% of Golden Nugget's equity, has agreed to hold the DraftKings shares he receives from a minimum of 1 year after the closing as well. So the transaction is expected to actually close in the first quarter 2022. So next year is subject to approvals. And the deal would deliver expected synergies of $300 million at maturity, according to the press release. So Golden Nugget was actually up a lot. I was checking this out pre-market. I believe it was up like 40% or something. So I forgot what the... All right, GNOG. Yeah, so it's up over 48%, trading past over $18 a share. So one of the things that you'll notice is that, look at the market cap, right? $956 million as of Friday's close. Now that they're actually entering into an agreement to be bought by DraftKings at a valuation of $1.56 billion in an all-stock deal, where do you think the market cap will trade all day today? Does anybody have an idea? I'll go over AMD in just a second. But where do you guys think AMD, this Golden Nugget will trade all day at a market cap level? Since it basically closed at $900 and something dollars, right? $956. So you can basically do like 1560 minus 956, 604 million. It needs to go up, right? So divided by 956. That's about a 63% gain, so it should be a little bit higher at the moment. So from Friday's close, it should basically be trading at roughly around, I want to say $20 a share, somewhere around that level. But we'll see. We'll see where it trades. Again, this is only the shares outstanding that we know of based on the market cap. So there could be like a little bit of a differential or margin based on the equity value and some of the debt that the company may have. So that's why it's trading at 49-50% gain. But again, so that's a strong move for both of those companies, right, with the new structures there. All right, so we talked about DraftKings, we talked about Golden Nugget, we talked about Bitcoin a little bit, briefly touched over this. So it's just booming past resistance, which is causing Mara, Coinbase, a lot of those companies to basically go up. And then we also talked about oil prices that are coming down. Broader markets, I haven't really gone over this in just a second. So Nasdaq up over 7 basis points pre-market. We've got the S&P 500 pretty much down, slightly down, and then we got the Dow down over 19 basis points as well. So all right, let's take a look. AMD, any thoughts on AMD here? So AMD should be validating 110. So pre-market, we are at just over 110, up over 66 basis points. So that's the first support level. The next one I'm watching is at 99, closer to $100 a share. So both of those levels, in my opinion, are support levels to watch for advanced micro devices. So there's not really much for us to go over, but Donnie, if you are interested in AMD, I'd watch 110 all the way as low as $100 a share. Tesla moving past over $700 once again, so we're back up to 710. It's up over 1.5%, so that's good. We'll go ahead and turn this level back into a support. We basically breached that on Friday by 90 cents. So I mentioned that if on Monday we kind of gap up once again, we'll go ahead and turn this level back into a support. So intraday, I'd watch $700 once again for Tesla stock right now. That's the support level that we need to watch intraday moving forward. It's $700 for Tesla, and of course $750 is the next resistance, all the way at $780 a share. Amazon, I believe, might run back up this week given the renewed fears on the new Delta variant. What are your thoughts? I agree. I mean, there is definitely some fears about the new Delta variant, but I really don't think that there is going to be any type of lockdowns. I personally don't think we are going to see unless the hospitalizations basically go up, right? If there's overcapacity when it comes to the hospitalizations, that's the only kind of catalyst that I see that could really result in some lockdowns. And when there's lockdowns, then yes, Amazon could benefit from that. But until then, you know, if the new Delta variant is, and even the mortality rate, right, it's not as aggressive as what we have seen when we had the first wave. So I don't think if people were to follow some of the rules and of course self quarantine, they should be fine with the new, at least in my opinion, as much as I've heard of the new Delta variant. So they should be good. But if the hospitalizations pick up, then yes, there is a risk of some lockdowns in the future. All right, let's take a look at, so what's Scotty's take on AMD going into earnings? I haven't heard him mention it. Reese, my take on AMD going into earnings? The earnings were last like a couple of weeks ago. We already covered it. Now AMD already rallied like 65% or something. Did you mean AMC or did you mean, you typed AMD? You may have meant AMC. Okay. Yeah. So we already talked about AMC. So we already talked about AMC. You know, coming out of earnings after the close. I haven't really looked into the company fundamentals, so I am not aware of the revenue guidance, the EPS guidance, what the expectations are. So I personally don't know much about the fundamentals. I can look that up, but we'll kind of revisit that in shortly here. So it's rumored that Biden announced lockdowns on 8/11. Ooh, that would be something. That would be pretty something, right? So Kunal, where would you enter AMD? 74 seems a long way off. So I'm actually still in on AMD. Like I would not be re-entering that trade because I'm already in AMD. It's just a question of where I would personally be adding more AMD. I think it'll has to be closer to $100 or maybe closer to that 50 EMA. If it comes down to like $90 or under $90, maybe I'll add more shares. But right now I'm just like not really touching that. So Prasad, thoughts on Autodesk? Glad you brought this stock up. This is a stock that has been rallying in the last like few weeks. Kind of flew under the radar in my opinion. It's now a little bit overbought here after breaking out from the symmetrical triangle. The RSI well over 76. The MACD also well over. The signal line kind of overbought as well. So I think I'd wait for a re-entry on this, potentially back down to $304. That's kind of like the prime support level that I want you to watch very closely for this company. That's the $304 support, also aligned with that 50 EMA. That's going to be the yellow line you see on the chart. So that would be the support to watch very closely. And a perfect breakout from the symmetrical triangle as well. So very happy about that. But as a re-entry, I'd wait at $304, $305 on this stock. By the way, let me know what you guys think about inflation coming up. I want to know from everyone that's on the live chat here. So we got about 260 people watching. just let me know. Just tell me, each and every one of you guys, what do you think about inflation coming up on Wednesday, August 11th? CPI, is it going to go up or is it going to come down? That's all you got to tell me. Do you think we're going up or are we going down? So right now it's sitting at 5.4%, right? Year over year, 5.4%. That's the consumer price index. And where do you see it going? All right, so we got up, inflation going up, one down. Most of them are up. So FOTME down. Vani says up. Prasad says up. 3 downs. So far, only 3 downs. 4 downs. That's it. But most of them are up. Only 4 downs right now. All right, down 5, 6. So far, 6, 7 downs. Okay. So most of the people think that we're going up. I think so too. I think we are going to go up, but we are now going to go up at a slower pace. In other words, last month we actually saw an increase of 90 basis points. This month we could see an increase of maybe 20-30 basis points. We're still going to go up. We're still going to move up year over year, but we could go up at a deceleration, meaning at a slower pace. And that could be the first signs of potential slowing down in these asset prices, right? We actually covered this in a lot of detail, like tobacco prices, cigarette prices, women's dresses, airlines, hotels, and then we got used cars, car trucks, rentals. Like all of them have just been surging with this influx of demand and the reopening of the economy. But I do think with the used car prices already starting to come down, with car rental prices already starting to come down, as demand kind of slows down for those categories, we could see kind of like a deceleration in the pace at which we're going up for inflation. So, with anything that's moving up, unless of course it's a stock that's going parabolic, but any kind of macro event that you see, it doesn't always kind of fluctuate. Like it'll go up, it doesn't always like come back down in a few months. What it does, it starts going up. It keeps going up, but it starts going up at a slower pace, right? It starts going up and it kind of starts plateauing, and then it starts decelerating. So that's kind of like what my personal expectations is for inflation. Like you can't really have something that would just like start going like this. So you can't really have something that's right now inflation is like this. It just keep going up. You can't have it like continue to go up indefinitely, right? That would be crazy. Although that could happen, but it would only happen like in a short term, right? So I do think we're gonna go up, but we're gonna go up at a slower pace, and we'll see. We'll see on Wednesday. If that's going to happen. But SPY moving back up, so pretty much flat right now. So Marco, high inflation affects the stock market. Yes, it does. It does in a way that interest rates, that's kind of like the fear that everybody has. If you haven't really checked out the video, we break down in a lot more detail. It's a 15-minute video where I go over inflation and tapering and interest rates. So highly encourage you to watch that video to get a good understanding on the monetary policy and what that really does to an economy and the markets as well. So what do you think about long-term inflation in the US and its effects on growth? Can we see another recession? I don't think so. I don't think this is going to lead. So in order for a high interest rate environment, in order for that to be sustained, the economy has to be really strong. You can't raise rates in a weaker economy, right? So if the GDP continues to grow and if we see a lot of economic growth in terms of the labor market, so jobs report is actually really important. That's why I do like to cover both the jobs report and the inflation, because if the jobs report is good, and of course if the markets are open now, if there is strong growth in the economy can weather through interest rate hikes, right? It can weather through it. But you can't raise rates in a weaker economy. That will absolutely crush the liquidity and obviously will put a dampen on the markets as well. So I don't think there are going to be signs of recession unless the economic growth slows down substantially, right? So last year we saw a significant contraction in the US GDP, but this year we're seeing that rebound. So the GDP continues to grow, and of course we see strong job growth and the labor market growth. I think the market and the economy should be able to weather through some interest rate hikes. All right, so let's take a quick look. Starting off with Mara here. So we're now up to 6% in the green. I'm actually going to pull up these charts. So DraftKings pulling back once again. So we'll keep DraftKings over here. We'll keep Neo on this side. Ooh, Mara back up to 36. It's up over 6% here, and then we'll keep Tesla over here. So we're up over 1.5% for Tesla. NEO trying to break past over $44. That is the resistance to watch on the day. And then let's take a look at Mara here, up over 7.5%. So do you think Upstart will do well on earnings? Great question. I'm actually going to be watching Upstart. I'm going to be doing a video on them very soon. They're reporting, let me take a quick look. So they are reporting earnings on tomorrow, right? So tomorrow after the close, you should see a video before that on Upstart. So I will be putting out a video chat on them. So feel free to check that out. I will be going over revenue, EPS guidance, and what my personal expectations are going to be. Upstart still has a strong resistance at 134.50. We're just like, we're like struggling to break out. Like every time we get up there, this right here, the red rectangle, it's just so much supply at that level. Like there's a wall at those levels. We need to break out. So just struggling at that level at the moment. So all in all, we've got NEO pretty much flat on the day. Tesla now starting to pull back. Let's take a look at DraftKings. So 1.2%. Mara still up. And let's take a quick tour of our watch list and how that's doing. Recovery continues to slide. We got Norwegian, Carnival, Southwest, American, Delta, Royal Caribbean, all of them down anywhere between 1.5% to as high as 2%, 3% as well. Then we got Chevron, Exxon down for obvious reasons because we've got oil prices pulling back. And then we've got Upwork continuing on that drop. Fiverr is also pulling back slightly. Golden Nugget flying. Let's see if it's actually up over 60% or not. All right, still up 47%. So with any acquisition, I can almost guarantee that probably it's going to start trading sideways here. Probably at that price point, which is determined for the acquisition. So we may not see like a lot of intraday trading activity, like a lot of volatility, but it may just trade sideways after this gap up. So we'll see how it kind of pans out during the day, but we were talking about it pre-market about the acquisition from DraftKings as well. All right, so let's continue. So greens, there's not really a lot of stocks that are green, and the ones that are only up by like 1%. And all in all, the markets are pretty much flat at the moment. This is what usually happens inflation weeks. If you guys haven't noticed, inflation weeks, the markets start off with by being absolutely flat and doing nothing as we wait for the inflation numbers. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P kind of close plus minus 25 basis points, like in the red or the green. So pretty much be flat on the day. Mara's approaching our resistance and our target at $38. We'll keep a close eye on that level. And I'm going to be watching that very closely. 38.75 is the resistance and the price that we're watching very closely for Mara stock. All right, so I'm actually going to put an order here. We'll send out an alert. All right. It would trade with DraftKings, yeah, DraftKings and that as well. This is also a stock that I've been watching, HIMS. It's just been selling off. This was recently brought to my attention, hims and hers, and just keeping it on my watch. Got some alerts set up, so we'll continue to monitor the progress here and see how it actually trades. All right, the Nasdaq back down, pretty much flat on the day. The S&P also down about 17 basis points, and we got the Dow Jones also down 33 basis points. I'm actually going to switch over to the indexes. So Coinbase, Gabrielle, I actually shared our price target with our Discord members. So if you're not already a part, I would highly encourage you to check it out. But yes, we have been buying kind of Coinbase at closer to 215, 220 levels. Let's see where it's trading now. Up another 7%. That's really strong. That's a strong move to the upside. We finally saw that breakout over 254 that we were waiting for, and the 50 EMA that was kind of like holding us down for a very long time, like the past 3 times. You'll notice that we have gone rejected at the 50 EMA, and then we finally saw that big boost higher. Of course, that's as a result of Bitcoin up over 4.5% as well. So we'll continue to monitor this. Next target or the next resistance is sitting at $302. It's a pretty steep sort of a price, but I do think we have the possibility to get up there. It's also a previous resistance for the stock. All right, Mars pulling back a little bit. We've got NEO now back up to $44. So that's good. $44 is the support that we kind of need to hold up on the day. And we're up over 0.5%. Tesla's still hovering over 700. DraftKings is now pulling back. Sam Beer, Boston Beer, Sam. This is a stock that I've been watching very closely. I honestly do think that it's a little bit undervalued, just based on the numbers here, just based on the price to sales, price to earnings. I do think that it has some potential to retrace back up. I mean, we saw a significant drop for Sam's here for Boston Beer when it was down over 26% on earnings. So that was a big drop for the company. So up 2.3% today. So that's good. Let's take a look at Walgreens. Up 1%, not bad. Trading past over $47, so that's good. GM and Ford. All right, let's take a quick look on GM. GM just hovering around that support, right? $53, that's the support level that we talked about. So the RSI pretty neutral here, and it basically dropped on earnings, and they actually raised their guidance as well after missing their EPS, I think, last week. But I do think that GM has a strong support at $53. So if you are looking into this company, that's the first support level I'd watch. All the way was $49, and resistance stays put at 64. For Ford, you'll notice that we are once again kind of testing this higher low, right? This is the literally higher low that we have been validating for a really long time. We've got so many touch points for this stock. So Ford, since the pandemic low, has been validating this ascending support. That's green line you see on the chart. So right now we're just testing that level. That's the support level I'd watch, sitting roughly at 1350, 1375 levels for Ford. All right, so NEO pushing higher, almost up 1% on the day. We already covered Golden Nugget, so you're more than welcome to check out the live stream from the past. Like, you can go back and see that for yourself. So Golden Nugget, if you are invested in Golden Nugget, in my opinion, again, this is a decision that you need to make. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but it's more of an investment now in DraftKings, because most of the Golden Nugget shares are going to now convert into DraftKings, right? So we literally read that report earlier about this here. So Golden Nugget online gaming stockholders will receive 0.365 new DraftKings Class A common shares. So you have to now look at it from a perspective of whether you want to be involved in DraftKings or not. That's what you're really sort of investing or holding on to now after this acquisition goes through, which is expected to close in the first quarter next year, right, 2022. So that's what you really have to kind of understand, that after the acquisition, you're basically holding on to DraftKings. All right, Tesla moving up nicely. NEO starting to pull back a little bit. Let's go over to our main watch list. So AMD under 109. Let's go. Under 110. Pulling back below that support here. $99 to $100 is going to be the next support level to watch for AMD. All right. All right, the market's really pulling back here on the day with the S&P, the Dow really down about 24 to 30 basis points each, and the NASDAQ also down over 22 basis points. Switch over to the 5-minute chart. All right, the yields are down 2%, now down to 1.27. We got gold prices also coming down. So Canal is, as ARK is trimming China positions, and they were firm believers in that story. Yeah, so I mean, they have been trimming their positions, but I personally don't think NEO is a risk just yet, because the government has been supporting NEO for a really long time. So we'll continue to monitor that situation as we progress. But as it stands right now, I don't see that much being a lot of risk at the moment. These companies are severely undervalued, and in my opinion, if you can weather through the volatility and the risk and understand the geopolitical risk there, then you're more than welcome to take advantage of that undervaluation, right? Alibaba is a great example of a company that is undervalued. All All right, let's take a quick look. So Trade Desk now down 5% after great earnings, considering that it has been going up. We covered this earlier, it's up over 80%. We got Micron down, we got Alibaba that's down, Snapchat, Pinterest is also pulling back a little bit, Fiverr down 0.5%, not a big deal. AMD now down to 108, down over 1%. All right, so we got Square, Corsair Gaming slightly down, Nvidia, Visa, Caterpillar, Shopify, PayPal slightly down, nothing crazy. Apple pretty much flat, Upwork's flat, Netflix is flat, Vertex is slightly up. Peyton, what's up? What's going on? Welcome on board. By the way, if you guys haven't really checked out Peyton, definitely check out his channel. He does some great work on personal finance, some really cool skits. So I would definitely recommend you check out his channel. Yeah, so the ones that are in the green, Mara is up over 9% now. Robinhood, look at that, 5.8%, up over 6% almost. Upstart, 136. I can already tell you, Upstart, I mentioned this in our previous live stream, I kind of have like a love and hate relationship with this company because every time it kind of pushes up, I almost know that we're going to find sellers at this price. Like all these wicks that you see, the longer wicks, like here, boom, 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 all those over here, it's just sellers sitting, and we're just struggling to break out. We're just struggling to break out for this stock. But it's good that we're up over 3.5%. We'll see if those levels kind of hold up. And if this level right here, that's the red line you see on the chart, if that level turns into a support for the stock or not. So we'll explain. So can you explain how negative interest rates occur? I will actually do a separate video on that. Similar to you, I do have a very less of an understanding of the negative interest rate environment. So I have to definitely do some more research. I have been curious about that, and I'm going to be very honest, things that I do know, things that I don't know. So I'm going to have to do some more research and do a video on that for you. And I've always been curious too, but I will be doing a video on that for sure. All right, so let's take a quick look on AMED. This is also a stock that I've been watching. It's been selling off aggressively, down over 21% after the earnings. Now I really think that it's coming down to more of a reasonable, sort of attractive / decent valuation, 26 times earnings, 3 times sales. Balance sheet really strong, revenue growth across the board. So watching this very closely, if you get down to like under 200, like under 160-ish level, that's the support level I'm watching here. That's the green line. And again, if you guys have any more information on these companies that we're going over, feel free to share more, because I think the more that we have an understanding on these companies, I think the lower the risk is going to be, and we're going to basically cover our bases when we are looking at these companies, right? If there's something that I'm missing out on, feel free to call me out and just tell me, like, there's risk involved here, this is what the company is doing, so that we can basically understand everything about the companies together. So Riot's up 11%. Yes, so Riot should be up 11%. Mara is also up over 7.68%. So that's a strong move for both of those, crypto stocks here. So that's really good. Trade Desk is down 5%. Worth a small entry? That's a great question. It's definitely down, but I'd wait to see if you can actually get in at closer to that 50 EMA. It's at 74.51. And again, this company has had really strong fundamentals, still trades at a pretty rich valuation, 93 times earnings and 46 times sales, which is very high, right? It's very rich. So with all of these rich companies, by the way, I was listening on Bloomberg earlier, there was a fundamental investor, like a value investor, that basically was saying that over the past 5 years, they've believed the markets to be overvalued. They've believed the markets has been overpriced for the last 5 years. And they basically said every stock that you look at, it's not in that buying territory because it's overpriced. So that was like really interesting, right? Of course, this is a market that we've kind of rallied, drifted to new all-time highs in this sort of high liquidity, quantitative easing environment. But of course, staying out of this market has a really expensive opportunity cost, right? So if you're not investing, you're losing out big time. So that's something that you have to really understand, which is exactly why I wanted you guys to stay invested, but at the same time, be cautious as to what prices you're paying for stocks. Look at those ratios. Like, look at the fundamentals, right? Where are you buying these companies? Because that really determines what your future returns are going to look like. What do you think will be Etsy next move? Archit, yes, I do speak Hindi. I do speak it. I understand it. I do speak it. The only thing I can't do is I can't write it very well anymore. I used to write it, but I can't write it anymore. I can still briefly read it. But anyway, so Etsy is at 179. 184 is a resistance that we're watching for this company. I'm waiting for 154. I think that's the price level that is desired and kind of preferred in my opinion. That's a really good price point that I'm really waiting to kind of establish a bigger position in. But again, Etsy reported really strong numbers, slowing down similar to Amazon, but year-over-year growth for everything. Revenue, EBITDA, free cash flows has been really good for the company. All right, let's take a look at this one. We got Take-Two Interactive. It's up over 1.2%. So this is actually a company I'm very, very interested in. I'm gonna do this, do more research after our live stream on this one, and we'll be going over this stock. All right, so we got Riot and Mara, really the winners on the day so far, up over double digits, and then we got in Neo, it's up over 1.4%. We got Tesla is also up 2.5%. That's a great question. If you could sit down and talk with any famous investor, who would you choose and why? That's a great question. It's more of a philosophical question, but I like it. I might have to pick Peter Lynch because I've read his books, and I've listened in a lot about his commentary on the markets and to really simplify things, right? Really simplify investor psychology and sentiment. And but yeah, I would definitely love to have a chat with him. And really, I mean, it's all about psychology. It's all about an emotional game, right? It's numbers, fundamentals. Everyone can get it over time. How well you control your emotions and how patient you are, that's the real takes you to the next level, so to speak. And that obviously comes with experience over time. Dylan, thank you. I appreciate that. So Mohammed, what is your idea about the Michael Burry predicted mother of all crashes? Are we in a huge bubble? It really, for me, it really comes down to like a timeline. I personally, based on the valuations, yes, they're high, they're overpriced, right? If you take a look at the S&P, the Nasdaq, yes, we're overpriced market. But this could lead to a valuation reset. It doesn't necessarily lead to like a whole full-blown crash. Just because valuations are high. I've mentioned this before, and I mentioned this back in March. If you guys remember, when we were dropping pretty heavily, like the Nasdaq corrected, S&P corrected. One of the things that we were talking about was the valuation reset mentality. And that was pretty much, at some point, people are going to look at these prices and they're going to think to themselves, it's too cheap for me to not invest in these companies, right? It's too low for me to not jump in. At some point, you're going to look at your favorite companies, like whether it's Amazon, whether it's Google, whether it's whatever company you're watching and you're looking from your watch list. If it continues to come down, aren't you going to get tempted to buy? How many people here in the live chat would be waiting to buy Apple under $100 a share? Under $100 a share, if Apple gets below 100, let's say in a few months, how many people in the live chat, I just want to know, would love to buy it? So I bet there's going to be a lot of people, and that's when a lot of buyers kind of come in, and then they start pushing prices higher. So we may get a valuation reset from the markets, meaning that yes, valuations are high, they may come down, we reset that valuation, and then we start moving up higher once again. But when you look at different types of risks, and this is something that we talk about quite often, what is out there that could lead to a potential crash? Interest rates. It's not the first time they're going to go up. They've gone up several times in the past. So interest rates, I don't see that as a problem. That may lead to some quantitative tightening, some liquidity issues, but the markets and the economy, if they stay resilient enough, they're able to weather through that. Tapering, that's not an issue. I think the Fed can taper starting next year, and the markets will still be fine. It may cause a little bit in the short term, a little bit of panic, but if the yields start pushing higher, but nothing crash related that we may see. Now, is there leverage in the markets? Sure, there's leverage in the markets. There's more leverage, I think, in the crypto markets than there is in the stock market because of the regulations that we've seen. That can really drive prices down, and that can do it really fast too. When you have the margin calls coming in pretty aggressively, that can really drop prices very, very substantially. All right, so I'm actually going to focus on the markets here. I'm going to keep all of that macro analysis stuff to a separate video because I know that we can pretty much talk about this for a really long time. So Design Studio, that's a great question. So for Palantir, we do have a price target closer to $50, but that's also not for like the next month or the next year. It's a longer term price target from where we are. That's $22 to $50. It's a 100% gain. But it's more of a 2025 target when they scale those revenues to well over $4 to $6 billion. So you have to keep that in mind, right? So when these price targets are issued, there's always going to be a timeline as to when I personally see them getting hit. With AMD, 110 was like by the end of this year, and we more than surpassed that target before the year's end, which is why we trimmed a little bit of our position. And I will mention what the target is. So for Palantir, 50, but it's more of a longer term target. All right, so Mara's seeing a little bit of profit taking, it feels like. So we are still up over 7.5%, but NEO has been pushing higher. NEO is doing really well today, back up to 44.50. Tesla staying up there at 714, 750, and Riot is also pushing higher. Let's take a look at AMC. We haven't covered AMC here. Slightly down. We were trading all the way to highs of 34.10, but we are now pulling back once again. All right, so Mara, Coinbase pulling back a little bit, still up over 273. That's good. Fubo TV is pushing higher. That's good. So Fubo is pushing back over this 50 EMA once again. We got Plug that's up. Upstart at 138. Again, I'm not going to trust this until after the markets actually close to see if we actually can sustain those levels. AMED now up to 3.5% in the green, so really seeing a strong momentum to the upside here for this company. Clover Health up 2%. We got Upwork, Palantir, Tesla we covered. Unity Software is up. Unity is also reporting their earnings. So ChargePoint is also up. Yeah, so it's up over 3%, so that's good. Let's take a look at the EV market here. So Workhorse is down 5%. They actually reported pre-market, right? Let's take a quick look as to what they reported here. So Workhorse on Monday reported second quarter loss per diluted share 35 cents compared with per share net loss of $1.76 the year before. Analyst poll was 31 cents, so they actually came in worse than the expectations. The technology company's revenue for the June quarter was $1.2 million, up $92,000 a year ago. Analysts were expecting $5.4 million. That's a huge miss. If you look at 5.4 to 1.2, I mean, it's not like a couple $100,000. It's like a full $4.2 million there. 4.2 million miss. Yeah, so definitely pulling back here. Lordstone's down, GM is down slightly, Ford down, Lucid Motors. And then the ones that are green are Tesla, NEO, XPeng, Li Auto, so some of the Chinese EV companies, and then also ChargePoint. Let's look at the banks and how the banks are doing. Oof, pretty red. Wells Fargo, MasterCard, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all of them are down. Square continues to push higher. Square, again, trading at near record levels here. 278 is a resistance on the day, so we'll continue to watch that. MMA is oh, got an alert for something. Missed that. Fiverr, was that an alert for Fiverr? No. Yes, it was. Look at that. Fiverr is up over 2.5%. That's good. No, so I haven't really invested in the Indian market yet. Well, just some like other types like fixed deposits and stuff that is just for some cash reserves, but for the most part, not really specific to any stocks. I was looking into like Zomato and like the Paytm. Those are a couple of pre-IPOs that I'm looking at that are very attractive. I may invest in like Paytm, which is like a, for those of you who are not aware, it's like a payment processing / e-commerce company here in India, which basically exploded last year because of the pandemic, and the earnings have continued to go up because of their digital use of finance. Kind of similar to PayPal, combination of PayPal and Amazon a little bit. So that's what we have here in India. That is going to be IPO. It's going to be going public very soon, that I may look into. Yeah, so Palantir, let's see. Pushing higher. This is the chart that I want you guys to understand for Palantir. This is like yesterday. I mean, I should have done a video on Palantir, but yesterday you'll notice that we literally just traded in between this range. We got rejected at 2268, and we got supported at this higher low that was kind of like the ascending triangle that we were watching. And right now you'll notice that we basically started off from this, and we're now back up. So as we continue to kind of fill this channel in, there's going to be a much bigger move coming, right? We're in a bearish context, so depending on where the earnings are, this is just gearing up for a much bigger move very, very soon after Thursday, right before the markets open. So all right, so can you advise as Patreon what we need to check and look for when someone joins? So mostly it's the Discord. So Discord, we've got a private group there, so that's going to be very important. You can also direct message me, and I will definitely get back to you if you have any questions about any stocks, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, whatever questions you have. You can direct message me always. But private Discord, our market updates channel, and the alerts channel. So those are three that are private to our Patreon members that are going to be super important for you to find information. Those are the three that really everybody needs to use if you're a part of our Discord. So I think I hope that answers your question, but that's really the three most important channels. And you can kind of connect Discord through Patreon, so you should be able to connect that and get access to all those channels. All right, let's take a quick look here. NEO up over 2%, moving up nicely. So yeah, but if there's any stocks, again, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do NEO stocks, companies that we haven't really talked about on the channel. Nobody's heard of them. I want us to find hidden gems. So if there's any tickers or any stocks that kind of meet our criterias, right? Criterias are long-term uptrends, fundamentally sound companies, financials should really show revenue growth year over year, reasonable valuation with higher volume as well. Companies that are kind of fitting that category. New companies will go over. All right, NBIX. Let's look at this one. All right, so volume. All right, so it's been down. It's been pretty much flat. Okay, it's been really flat for the last since 2018. Hasn't really gone anywhere. This right here was a drop because of the housing bubble crash. Biosciences. So neuroscience focus, I mean, the biotech sector, it's kind of hard to really research because of all these clinical trials, FDA approvals, different drugs coming out on the market. It becomes really volatile in nature. I'm sure they've got a really strong business. The revenue growth does suggest that. But I personally like reasonable price to earnings, price to sales here, so that's good. But when it comes to like understanding biotech, it's kind of like not the expertise that I personally have. Good balance sheet on the company as well. Total assets more than total liabilities. So I like it, but it becomes really hard for me to really project out the revenues. There's very few companies that I've been able to actually analyze in the biotech space. But it seems like it continues to follow this trend. Right now it has been just moving sideways, and this is the weekly chart, right? So it's just been moving sideways for a long time. So maybe I'd watch that support at $80, resistance at closer to 148. So there could be a potential swing trade of closer to 45-50% on this stock. All right, let's take a look at so this one. So ticker symbol S. I'm watching this very closely. This is letting the pattern develop a little bit more. in my opinion. And again, the price of sales I think is a little bit expensive for me at 120. That's a really, really expensive price of sales for the company. So yeah, I'm kind of doing some more research on this, but not really doing anything with this just yet. Just give me 1 second while I check something really quickly. So Joel's report comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern. So so you asked me that. Joel's report comes out at 10 a.m. Thank you for reminding me that though. I completely forgot about that. I thought it was going to be at 8:30. I think it comes out at 10 a.m. So yeah. That's going to give us a good understanding on the number of jobs that are opening, and some good understanding on the labor market as well moving forward. All right, EYE. See, National Vision Holdings. So a strong move from the March 2020 lows. It's up 300%. Revenues decent, quarter over quarter has been strong growth, profitable company. 77 earnings, a little bit on the rich side. 2x sales, that's okay. That's actually really good. A little bit high on the debt, 1.1 billion versus 453 million in cash. Free cash flows have been kind of all over the place, but year over year they've been going up, so that's good. So 2.3 million, 2.13, 63, 158 million dollars. So that's good. Oh, job openings just coming out. Oof. 10 million jobs report. I just have the Bloomberg on my earpiece. 10 million. That's even stronger than the previous record. That basically means that there is now 10 million job openings in the U.S., which again is at a record level for the United States. So that just goes again. There is an imbalance between the demand and supply part of the jobs. So Joel's defines job openings as all positions that are open, not filled on the last business day of each month. So all positions open but not filled. So let's just kind of break this down. So what that really means is that there is a lot of job openings. Existing workers that are working right now, whether it be the utility sector, the financials, information technology, wherever there's shortage of labor, are going to be able to demand higher prices. In other words, higher wages, right? Average hourly earnings may move up even further because there's less supply of workers. And if the labor market doesn't improve, right, going into next month, right, when you get the jobs report in the following months, if the labor market doesn't improve, then that's not going to lead to substantial further progress. If it doesn't lead to substantial further progress, the Fed may not raise rates sooner, or it may not taper sooner. And that's going to be good for growth and tech, and somewhat bad for value and cyclicals. So again, this is a record level for Joel's. 10 million is the amount of job openings but not filled. But yeah, I mean, these jobs may get filled eventually, right? After September is when we really should be focusing on what that number looks like. After September, because that's when most of the unemployment benefits kind of expire. That's when schools reopen, so we may see a lot of parents kind of go back into the workforce. So those are the real numbers that I'm actually really focused on. So starting next month for labor market, and of course this week for inflation. But look at Tesla. back up to 718 here, up over 2.7%, and NEO is up over 2.3%. You know, we got Mara also up, AMD, quick check on advanced micro devices, still pulling back, pretty much stabilizing at closer to 109, 110, so that's good. But all in all, I think the markets, like I said before the stream, you know, earlier in the stream, that I could see like a lot of consolidation, right, in the markets ahead of the inflation report. We could be like plus minus, give or take 10, 15, 20 basis points, not a lot of movement, so to speak. The NASDAQ, I mean, look at this. We're like literally flat on the day, 0.00%. The S&P down only 17. The Dow is down a little bit more, 30 basis points. So it's the same in Australia. Companies are unable to find workers. My friend got 3 job offers. Wow. Yes, it's happening. Yes, it's happening literally in the US, probably maybe in the UK, Europe, some places, and Australia as well. I also want to cover like some other markets in general, right? I want to start covering like the DAX or like some other, like, again, this is completely up to you if you guys would like me to cover these different markets, like global markets all over the world. But I really am curious about different economies, right? If we start covering economies over like someplace else, and you know, different markets, different indices as well. Let's just go over Lucid for Yasir. So just US, DJ, all right, DG, all right. So Lucid Motors kind of consolidating sideways. You know, there's still support at close to $20, $21. Resistance at 29.30. We are like literally just moving sideways. There's not really much for us to go over, other than like you look at the RSI, neutral, 45, MACD, neutral. So just consolidating sideways. I'd watch $20 as support and 29.30 as a resistance for the company. Yeah, so I don't know when they're reporting earnings or anything, but 37 billion in my opinion is a little bit rich for the company, only because of the fundamentals that they've provided us. So it does trade at a pretty rich valuation, so I'd be very careful with Lucid Motors, but of course it has a lot of potential in the future as well. All right, so couple more stocks that we'll go over. Bitcoin now breaking past over $46,000. Look at that. Bitcoin, 46,000. Ethereum, 3,100 here. So Ethereum like almost at its all-time highs. The all-time high sits at 4380. What do you guys think? Are we going to see all-time highs for Ethereum? 38% gain here from current levels. Back up to 4,300. Bitcoin, I was kind of confident that we're going to see some more upside, which is exactly why we were buying like Mara. The reason was because of this downtrend that we actually broke out of. This was actually a downtrend that we were trading in for a really long time. Since May 20th, we were just like downtrend, right? Consolidating in this lower high, lower low pattern. And then as soon as we broke out, this was something unusual, right? There was a lot of volume. I think this happened when there was speculation that Amazon started is going to potentially add Bitcoin as payment. And they came out and said that they were not. We pushed up, got rejected at this resistance of 42,000, had a minor pullback, and then ripped through 46,000 right now. So this resistance may turn into a support, and we're also testing our 200 SMA here, sitting roughly at $45,000. So we'll see. So Otto, where should you invest with upcoming inflation report, better job report, and possibly tapering earlier by the Feds? So there's not like, I can't really mention a specific stock or like a sector based on that one report, but this is more of a tactical rotation that we may have to do like as we progress towards an interest rate hike, because banks, you'll notice, actually did really well on Friday. And the reason why they did well on Friday, all the banks were basically up as far as I remember. Like Goldman Sachs basically rallied to new all-time highs. It was up over 3.5% on Friday. I think Bank of America rallied as well. So on Friday it was up 2.9%. Then we got JP Morgan that was up, right? So up over 2.5%. The reason why they did well is because the jobs report came in stronger than expectations, right? Better than expected. That means the economy is recovering. That means we may raise interest rates sooner. Interest rate increase is good for banks, for the financial sector. So that potentially could be a tactical rotation that we could do, like going into next year, going into 2023, as we learn more about inflation, as we learn more about interest rate hikes and tapering. So there's no specific stock or sector that, just based on this one inflation report, will potentially be the best deal, right? It's more of a tactical rotation that we can do moving forward. All right, Marathon pushing higher once again, up over 10%. We'll see if those levels get pretty much hold or sustained, or if we do see a potential pullback once again for Mara. This right here, AMD back up to 110. Let's see. All right, the Nasdaq is catching bid here. So Nasdaq has started to move up over 8 basis points now, with the Dow pulling back. Again, this is literally what Kathy would mention. By the way, did you guys get a chance to watch the video that I put out, ARK Invest commentary, and what Kathy would basically said? I like listening to her in terms of the macro analysis piece, which is why we don't really cover, like videos on stocks that she bought or sold, or not really interested in that, but really interested in the macro picture that she covers, right? Fiscal monetary policy, because she has an economics background. So I really like listening in on what her views are in terms of labor market, and of course the deflation story that she's telling everyone, what she believes is going to play out over the next 3 to 5 years, was really interesting as well. But this is exactly what she was talking about. There was a lot of confusion in the tug of war between the Nasdaq and the Dow, and we're again witnessing it firsthand, right? The Nasdaq rallies, the Dow slumps, and same thing kind of goes back and forth every time we get like stronger or weaker economic data. So I think it's really important for us to take note of that and see what happens eventually. She believes growth is going to win out eventually. We'll see. All right, so the stocks that are green, we got Roblox. Look at that, Roblox up over 9% today. Let's take a quick look. So look at that strong move, back up to $81 for Roblox. They didn't report their earnings. Let me see what the catalyst was. This is from July 22nd, so nothing is new, but definitely a strong move. If you guys have any information, if you guys know of a catalyst, just let us know. Let us know in the live chat what the catalyst was, if there was any. Palantir, look at that, up 4% on the day, back up to 22.73. We're now just started to peak out from that resistance here. So 22.67, that's the level that we're watching. That's the level that we want Palantir to close above, so we can see a potential breakout. Actually, you know what? I might raise this level just a tiny bit, closer to 22.75. So that is a resistance. Of course, we got the 50 EMA sitting roughly at $23. That's the level to watch. So we're invested in Upwork. I am not, unfortunately. I'm not invested in Upwork just yet. But I'm interested in both Fiverr and Upwork. But they do trade at a rich valuation, in my opinion. Upwork, of course, 13 times sales here. Fiverr also trades at a pretty rich valuation. So I do have plans on adding one of the other. It's just that waiting for the right entry and just better prices for these companies. So I'm going to be waiting for those. So yeah, Palantir ahead of earnings on Thursday. It's a strong move to the upside here. Creating some alerts if you'll see a breakout over $23 here. But yeah, so my earnings expectation also are very aligned with Wall Street consensus. But we already broke that down, and some of the things that I'm focused on is the total number of customers. Right now sitting at 149, I want that number over 170, 175. I want customers to grow for Palantir and average revenue per customer to also go up. It's currently sitting at 8.1 million, so we'll see where that ends up. Yeah, cautious about the CPI data because that can really move the markets eventually. So Dow really coming down, down over 44 basis points, pulling back over 156 points. The S&P also down. Nasdaq still pretty much staying flat. All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. It's been over an hour. I'm gonna spend some time with our Patreon members and our Discord members to answer any questions there. Go over price targets, support resistance levels. Again, if you guys want to get access to that, the link is gonna be down in the description below. We have a sale in the month of August of up to 16%, so you can save 2 months if you want to join and get those real-time alerts and updates as well. So thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys have a great green day. Let me know in the live comments, in the chats, if there's any specific stocks you want me to cover during market opens in our next live stream. I'd love to go over those. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. We're only at 96 likes. Let's see if we can actually get up to 100. 4 likes. That's all I'm asking. So thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you guys all. Hope you guys have a great day, great evening, wherever you guys are watching from. And until next time, peace.